Freemasonry. An ancient fraternity shrouded in mystery. With roots stretching back to the medieval stonemasons, its age-old traditions have remained virtually unchanged for centuries.
When people hear the word Freemason, they think about funny handshakes, they think about rolled-up trouser legs.
If you do a little bit of Googling, it's a cabal of people that are taking over governments and things.
Freemasonry, secrecy, secret society, 100%.
Now, as the Brotherhood celebrates its 300th anniversary, the United Grand Lodge of England is allowing the cameras in for the first time to reveal what really goes on behind closed doors.
Right, now, will you bugger off?
With unprecedented access, we lift the veil of secrecy to discover what it means to be a modern-day Freemason.
Feeling a bit inadequate. It's a lot of fancy aprons, a lot of fancy aprons.
From the regalia...
My mum might say I look like a complete wally, but you can never please your mum.
Forward, brethren.
To the lavish ceremonies...
You will seal that with your lips.
And ancient rituals.
Do you have anything to give in the name of charity?
No.
All of the rituals that we do, which are like little plays, I love them.
And of course, the unbreakable bonds of brotherhood.
What's the matter, brother?
Describing it, you go, why would anyone want to do that? But once you're in it, you get it.
Some of the biggest Masonic conspiracies were that Freemasons were responsible for the assassination of JFK, faking the moon landing, and sinking the Titanic.
Is that true? Well, actually...
All of it, yeah. Yeah. We hold back the electric car as well.
In the heart of London's Covent Garden lies Freemasons' Hall, spiritual home for the craft's 6 million members worldwide. Freemasonry is an intricate system of morality, and for nearly 20 years, worshipful brother Andrew Ross has been focused on one core value in particular, a belief that's enshrined in the very fabric of the building.
Well, that window here depicts prudence, and this one, temperance, and then this one over here, charity. And there's a rather nice passage that's given to every initiate on the very first day that he's made a Freemason, and he's charged with letting prudence direct you, temperance chasten you, fortitude support you, justice be the guide of all your actions, but be especially careful to remember those truly Masonic ornaments, benevolence and charity. And we're reminded of it even as we walk into this building. It's a nice bit of work, isn't it? No, George. When I became a Freemason over 40 years ago, I thought this was a rum affair. I wasn't at all sure what I was getting into. And over the years, it somehow got under my skin. It's the Lodge of Fortitude in Old Cumberland, number 12. And I'm very proud to be a member of it because it's one of the very first lodges. And we have records going back to about 1720, right from the very beginnings of Masonry in this country.
Today, Andrew and his brethren are welcoming new blood into their lodge. They're holding an initiation ceremony, the first of the 3 degrees a man must go through to become a fully fledged Master Mason. For the first time, they've agreed to show us a part of the initiation, in which the candidate, stripped of all valuables, is made to experience what it's like to have nothing.
You now stand, to all external appearances, a just and upright Mason. I shall immediately proceed to put your principles to the test by calling upon you to exercise the distinguishing characteristic of a Freemason's heart. I mean charity.
In that initiation ceremony, one's puzzled by the whole thing. The language is archaic. Some of it's absolutely splendid, some of it's a bit clumsy. But these words have meaning, are to be taken seriously. It's about integrity, it's about compassion for the needs of our fellow men.
Whatever you feel disposed to give, you should deposit with the junior deacon.
Do you have anything to give in the name of charity?
No.
Were you deprived of everything of value prior to entering the lodge?
Yes.
If you hadn't, would you have given freely?
Yes.
The natural response is to say, of course I'll give. But actually, you can't, because you had it all taken away from you. You are in a helpless state. You can't do anything about it. And so you've actually got to think about that.
Should you at any time meet a brother in distressed circumstances, you will remember that peculiar moment when you came into Masonry, poor and penniless, and gratefully.
Despite this emphasis on charity and being charitable, it's probably not the first thing the general public associates with Freemasonry.
Secret society, Illuminati, sex scandals, match fixing.
It's a bit weird sometimes when I watch some of the things on the television, which they sometimes include Masonry. I mean, there was a Midsummer Murders. It got so much wrong for a start. Oh, I'm not a violent man, but sometimes you just scratch your head.
I've heard things about goats and drinking blood. How dare they? It's not goat's blood, it's sheep. Yeah.
Like many, 27-year-old Rowan Sham knew little about Freemasonry before his initiation 3 months ago. Today, he's preparing for an equally daunting ceremony, his marriage to Sharon, his girlfriend of 8 years.
Are you okay in there, Rowan?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks.
Do you need any help?
Well, I like this, but I have to see what the missus says. If she'll allow me to wear it.
Is she the boss?
Yeah, well, she thinks she's the boss. Well, she is the boss. She's the boss, yeah.
So what made you want to join the Freemasons?
To be honest, I think it was mainly because of the secrets, you know. That's why I wanted to join. I wanted to learn about it.
Smile, maybe. We're getting married.
I used to watch YouTube videos, and I used to think, wow, how do I become part of this secret special society? I had this perception, if you're a Mason, you'll benefit in monetary terms. Yes, I'll try that on, please. I think I'll like that. Freemasons, some of them rule the world. I don't know, maybe one day I'll rule the world. I'm a Freemason now, from humble beginnings. Maybe in a few years I'll be a billionaire or a trillionaire.
With his dreams of untold wealth and secrets revealed, Rowan has thrown himself into Freemasonry, leaving fiancée Sharon to organise their wedding.
I ring him on Friday nights, oh, what are we doing tonight? And he'd be like, oh, I've got plans. I'm like, with who? And he's like, my friends. I'm like, what friends? He starts naming all these friends I've never heard of before. And I'm like, who the hell are they? He's like, oh, they're just my brothers. And I'm like, your brothers? Who? What brothers? And all these fancy restaurants which I want to go to, he's already been to it. Like, with who? With his brothers. So, I don't know.
Rowan's currently preparing to take his second degree. And tonight, he and his brothers are meeting for a final rehearsal, known as a Lodge of Instruction.
So this is Abbey Lodge, Westminster. I'm feeling the jitters, actually. But good jitters, good nerves.
If you pick him up and then...
The ceremony will see Rowan pass to the level of Fellow Craft, the second of 3 steps on the road to becoming a Master Mason.
Where were you first prepared to be made a Mason?
In my heart.
The only part of the ceremony that the candidate's allowed to know about before the big day is a section where they must recite the answers to 11 preset questions.
Name the grand principles on which the order is founded.
Brotherly love, relief, and truth.
You have to undertake a lot of work, study. It's slightly daunting. Now, I'm not very good at learning lines. I'm not a very good actor. I used to be rubbish at drama at school.
How do you account for that which at first view appears a paradox?
The Earth is constantly revolving around its axis in its orbit, and the Sun is
being universally spread.
It's like an exam. You know, you have to go in prepared. If you go unprepared, then you don't really appreciate anything.
And the Earth, excuse me.
Rowan has just 2 weeks to master the answers to these 11 questions.
Just upright men just upright and free men.
Despite what many people think, Freemasons using their Masonic membership for their own pecuniary advantage will be subject to Masonic discipline.
This is the apron worn by a second-degree fellow crafter.
The second degree is about how a Freemason lives his life.
The candidate is seen as symbolically coming of age.
Where were you made a Mason? In my heart.
At Freemasons Hall in London, entered apprentice Rowan Sham is preparing to go through his second degree ceremony.
My Masonic career is progressing very nicely. You know, I pretty much got everything to a T. So this morning, you know, before I woke up, after I woke up, trying to perfect everything.
What is the second degree? What does it mean?
Good question. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure.
For me, the importance of the second degree is it introduces the legend that lies behind craft Freemasonry, in that the building of King Solomon's Temple and the role of Hiram Abiff, the architect of the temple, who becomes enormously significant in the third degree.
A little bit nervous now, more nervous than when I was before. So, yeah, I'm just going to start doing my breathing exercises just to settle the nerves down, yeah? Have you memorised your lines?
Yeah.
You know all of them? Off by heart?
But obviously I'm not going to...
Well, it's better to be prepared than not be prepared, you know?
Yeah.
Brethren, shall we be upstanding to receive the worshipful master and his word?
The time has come for Rowan to demonstrate his mastery of the 300-year-old ritual.
Joe, the aprons that we get are not the bestest, are they?
Brethren, Brother Rowan Sham is this evening a candidate to be passed to the second degree.
The second degree is about your development as a Freemason, starting to learn your craft and to learn the secrets of Freemasonry.
You come in and you're an entered apprentice, a bit like when you're at school and you're not allowed to play in the big playground. And then, you know, you get to a certain age and then you're allowed to go and play in the big playground, and then when you get to the end of that process, you're allowed in the common room.
It's overlooked because a lot of people think, oh, it's just the middle one. You know, it's just a little bit, go through that then before we do the big one, before you become a Master Mason.
It looks at charity, it looks at intellectual improvement, it looks at bettering yourself.
After a 2-hour ceremony, Rowan emerges as a second-degree fellow craft Mason, a step closer to reaping the rewards that come with being a fully fledged member of the Brotherhood.
When I first decided that I wanted to become a Mason, I thought that you get all these, you know, pecuniary benefits. And I said, look, I really want to become a Mason. And it was all about I want. And now it's not about I want, it's about, you know, I like, I enjoy. Oh, thank you very much, sir.
Oh, they can't call me sir.
No.
You're a brother now.
Oh, thank you very much.
As Rowan joins his brethren at the festive board, it's clear the hard work he's put in has paid off.
Worshipful Master, distinguished brethren, brethren all. Today we had two candidates for the passing. Weren't they good? They were led round. I often see candidates coming and struggle with the words. No problem with you two. You had done a lot of work. You were demonstrating that if you put something into Masonry, you're going to get it back. Yeah. And I'm sure that that is going to augur well for your long career with Masonry, and I wish you very much. Brethren, Masonry is safe with them, and it's safe with Abbey Lodge, Westminster. Thank you very much indeed.
Before I was a Mason, I didn't have patience, didn't have any tolerance, but it's helped reinvent myself. You know, be more appreciative about life, about giving. I'm still perfecting it, because as a Mason, you always want to progress. You want to continue to progress. It's all about self-improvement and being a better person and helping others.
Key to the lessons of the second degree is that a Freemason should not only work hard to improve his own character, but also to benefit wider society. And in the basement of Freemasons' Hall, there is an entire floor dedicated to doing just that.
You let me in. Thank you very much.
Worshipful Brother Andrew Ross is a trustee of the Masonic Charitable Foundation, a central fund made up of contributions from Masons across the country.
The Masonic Charitable Foundation is now in the first rank of grant-giving charitable foundations in this country. And I don't think the general public has any idea that that's the case.
In 2015, of grants totalling around £20 million, nearly £5 million went to non-Masonic causes, like the Scout Association and Air Ambulance.
Give us a little bit more detail about the circumstances.
The remaining £15 million went to help Freemasons and their families, from hospitals to schools, or just individuals in need.
Some of these Masonic charities predate our welfare state by up to a couple of hundred years. So it's certainly part of our ethos to support our brethren.
It's this institutionalized support for fellow Masons that has led to accusations of unfairness and self-interest from those outside the Brotherhood.
The idea that Freemasons solely exist to look after each other is complete nonsense. Yes, there's a tradition of charitable giving to support the families of Freemasons.
But you see, on top of that, we want to do what we can to make a difference in society.
There are Freemasons lodges supporting causes all over the country, on top of what they contribute to the Masonic Charitable Foundation.
There's money raised at lodge meetings, raffles. There's money raised at social events, such as dinner and dances, family fun days.
When people say to me, what do Masons do then? So, charity. What do you do then?
Last night at the proms, riverboat shuffles, charity walks up Kilimanjaro.
And you sometimes wish you could go, that's what we've done.
Cycling from John O'Groats to Land's End, jumping out of aeroplanes, abseiling down buildings.
If you're trying to be charitable, you're not far wrong in becoming a very fine human being.
Is that enough?
In Gloucestershire, final preparations are being made for yet another money-raising event. A white-collar charity boxing match, organised by 35-year-old brother Alistair Chambers.
It's hard because you've got 30 people and you're trying to match them up as best as you can. 15 fights for the charity. Everyone's got their own individual charity. It's going to be really exciting.
The boss of a construction firm, Alistair is a third-degree Master Mason who joined the Brotherhood 5 years ago.
I was the youngest child, and growing up I was quite a selfish boy. Probably into some aspects still am, unfortunately, but that's something that in myself I'm sort of growing out of, and Freemasonry is about learning from those mistakes.
I've always wanted peacocks. Had a much nicer male than him. Indian blue, lovely, and the fox ripped him apart.
You've clearly done all right for yourself. You've got nice pads, you've got peacocks. You're a self-made man?
No, just big Big debt.
For 10 weeks, the amateur boxers taking part in Alistair's charity fight night have been training hard at a gym he part owns.
I had my first white-collar boxing event September last year, raised over £600 for charity, and I enjoyed the experience so much that I wanted to be part of that and give people that opportunity to fight for the charity close to their heart. Sorry, Gabby, we're just going through names again. So we've got Gabby Hit-Girl Hancock, cancer research. It gives them that much more sort of encouragement and fight on the night. And it's a dog charity. All right.
This time, Alistair's not fighting, as he's awaiting surgery on an injured shoulder.
How's it going, Lee? You okay?
Instead, he's roped in 30-year-old painter and decorator and fellow Freemason Lee Green.
Names for the fight night.
Yeah.
We're going to go for you, then, Lee.
Oh, don't bother me, mate. You pick.
No, I'll give you a helping hand, Lee. Lee. Wait, you're good with names. You come and think of a name for Lee.
Lee the Grenade.
Do you like that?
That'll do.
Lee the Grenade Green. And what charity are you representing?
Whichever one you said to represent.
Oh, you're going to do Sparks for me? Oh, thanks for that, mate. Oh, it means a lot for me. No, cheers. Thanks a lot.
Alistair's charity involvement with them personally is phenomenal because his son had to be treated through them. When anybody has a tragedy in their family, I think it can either break you as a person or it can make you a stronger person.
When Alistair and Steph's son Harry was born, he was fighting for life and without oxygen for 20 minutes. The doctors gave him no chance of survival.
I just remember the consultant turning to me and saying, look, I'm really sorry. And they discussed ourselves going with Harry into a room they called the lavender room. And then they said then unfortunately I have to turn off the equipment, the machine. We'll probably get like 30 minutes with his body. I can remember looking out the 4th floor window to the pavement and wanting to climb out and jump out. Because the pain of this was so much that ending my life at that point looked a much better option.
After refusing to turn off Harry's life support machines, Alistair and Steph were approached by medical research charity Sparks. Trialling a new technique, they put Harry into a hypothermic state to give his brain time to heal. It saved his life.
Well, without this, I just really don't think there'd have been any hope for him. You know, he either wouldn't have survived that or he'd be severely disabled now. You know, we're really, really lucky. There are some parents that look at photos like this and that's what they've got. And that must be terrible for them.
Harry is now 7 years old and doing well.
Charity for me was a personal issue that's made me go into charity, and it's just great that it goes hand in hand with being a Freemason.
With the big night fast approaching, it's time for Alistair to reveal to the participants who they'll be fighting.
Right, first everyone, well done for getting here this far. As you know, a lot of people have dropped out. It's a hard journey. Even to get this far is such an achievement. Let's get some attention and more importantly, let's raise some money for charity and for your chosen charities. First match-up for the evening. Lee Green for the red team against Carl Pepper for the black team.
Bit nervous, of course, because I've never sort of really had a proper fight before. Hopefully don't beat me up too bad. It's bigger than me. I'll just put weights in my gloves. Quite unmasonic, but hey, winning's winning.
Masonic Lodge refers to the congregation of people that meet there, not just the name of the building. The fundamental principles of Freemasonry are brotherly... The fundamental principles of Freemasonry are brotherly love, relief, and truth.
In Gloucestershire, it's the final training session before the big charity boxing gala.
Lee, come on, hurry up. Get moving, baby, come on. This is last week of your fight camp. Fix up and make sharp moves.
Despite an injured shoulder, event organiser Alistair Chambers is keen to lend a helping hand to fighter and fellow Freemason Lee the Grenade Green.
Hey Lee, when's the your go? Wait a minute. I want to show you some love in a minute.
This is my first go, man.
I want to show you some five-fingered love. Got mine.
Yeah, ready? You'll go. Go. Come on, take it. Let's go!
Have some of that, brother.
For painter and decorator and avid Freemason Lee, tending his horses is a welcome break from getting beaten up for charity.
Come on, move, you know what I want from you. Yeah, typical. It is my little escape from absolutely everything, even from Freemasonry, because although I love to do it, it can be quite demanding if you're as involved as I am. And that's my choice to be that involved. You can't get anywhere if you don't work for it.
The ultimate aim of Freemasonry is to make good men better, and the second degree in particular teaches a man how life should be lived. But different brothers approach Masonry in different ways.
There's always somebody like me on the one end who wants to do any of the major works in the lodge, and then there's always somebody who's like Alistair.
Can't find my suit jacket.
I can't imagine him taking time out to read a ritual book.
I'm probably not the best organised Freemason out there. Can't find my black shoes and can't find my bow tie. I can't even find my briefcase. So I'll have to smuggle it in then. But as long as you don't tell anyone, it'll be fine.
He's a scatterbrain, isn't he? Doesn't ever forgets his food though, does he? Never forgets to eat. And that's evident.
How much? So you... Oh, God.
Lee and Alistair are members of different lodges. But tonight, Lee has invited his bigger brother Alistair to attend a meeting at his, the Royal Gloucester Lodge.
Yeah, good, thank you.
There's a lady somewhere.
Follow you then, Lee.
Cheers.
Sorry, I can't help it. As long as you don't hang me with it, I'll be fine.
Lee's approach to Freemasonry is pretty different to mine. He really enjoys it. He does take it pretty seriously, which is good.
Great stuff. Hang on. Look at these.
There's a lot of work gets done in
Look
there.
at this. Look at mine. Look at that. It's a disgrace. I feel like slapping you with it. What
Well,
was
two
it?
pairs.
You just get slapped across the face.
I get my hands dirty. These are working man's gloves.
Lee is a Masonic SWAT to some degree. The wording he knows, the ritual he remembers, he's definitely sort of taken it all in. But for myself, I haven't got that time.
Alistair usually avoids any active role at meetings. But as Lee's guest, Masonic tradition demands that he deliver the visitor speech at the festive board.
Worshipful Master, Brother Wardens, distinguished brethren, and brethren all. Lee, as you're aware, is taking part in a boxing match, which he's actually putting the money raised towards a really, really important charity to me. I've got 5 children.
I'm not what you call a hardcore Freemason.
My youngest son had to have help.
Got quite a large business, so I don't want to do anything unless I do it properly. So until that time comes when I can sort of dedicate to it, I will do. And I just enjoy going along, watching other people do it.
Thank you very much, Worshipful Master, for such a splendid evening. Thank you.
Well done, Al. Well done.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's very kind. We're basically promoting as Mason versus Mortal.
Perhaps surprisingly, Alistair's casual attitude to Freemasonry is precisely what is recommended.
The balance is quite simple. It comes family, work, Freemasonry. That's the order.
It can be a bit addictive, and you can join more than one lodge, and as a consequence be out more than might normally be the case, which your other half might find objection to.
How can you justify that it takes up 2-3 evenings a week sometimes, and that you need to spend some time at home learning your ritual, if you do, and that can be a bit of a downer on any relationship.
The wives' thoughts are very varied. Some of them find it quite amusing. Others are quite casual about it and say, well, you know, at least I've got the TV controls now, and, you know, you just get on with it.
Family comes first. Family, business, they are more important than Freemasonry, but only just.
In London, members of the Friendship Lodge are gathering for their monthly meeting in one of the 23 lodge rooms at Freemasons Hall.
You all right, mate?
Yeah, good. You're good.
Yeah, I think so.
Gary Southam has only been a Freemason for 5 years, but is already worshipful master of 2 separate lodges.
The master is the boss, the ultimate Freemason in that room. That's it, just under the lip of the collar, that's it. It entails lots of hard work, and as my family will tell you, there's very, very few days where I don't do anything Masonically. Sad, really. It's not sad. Relax, you'll be fine.
But for Gary, Freemasonry is just the latest in a long line of pastimes that he's taken to extremes.
Good luck, everybody.
Before becoming a Freemason, adrenaline junkie Gary was a skydiver, base jumper, and motorcycle racer.
Whenever I get involved with something, I want to give my all or my 100% to it. I want to be the absolute best. Doesn't always work, but give it a go. There's very little in a man's life that will give him what Freemasonry gives him. It allows you just to take a step back and look at your life, reflect upon it, and you start then to getting into the whole thing, and it just becomes this whole way of life. Where were you first prepared to be made a Mason? In my heart. Where next? Convenient room adjoining the lodge.
Gary's currently focused on perfecting a second-degree ceremony he'll be conducting in a few days' time. As worshipful master, this means committing many pages of ritual to memory.
I would estimate that I've spent anything between 10 and 15 hours learning, reciting, going through the whole ceremony. And I'm sure there's lots of dog walkers around Surrey and Hampshire. They must think there's something wrong with me when I walk past, nod good morning and carry on chuntering away to myself.
The day Gary's been preparing for has arrived.
Don't up, don't get it wrong.
Oh,
You'll be fine. Right, here we go.
But he's not the only one who's had lines to learn. The candidate is expected to have memorized the answers to 11 questions that test his Masonic knowledge.
It's the first time the candidate has had to learn the ritual. So there's an expectation that if you've been given this task, that you will do your absolute best to deliver it, and deliver it with the purpose that it should be delivered with. Let's just go through them once and that's it. Right. And if there's any stumbling, don't worry about it, just move on, okay? So if you can remember, where were you first prepared to be made a Mason? Move on. Where were you made a Mason? I just think you were in this and you're in here, weren't you? In the body of a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's just going to be awful if you like this, and
Yeah.
I'm just going to get up and walk out. Now, what is Freemasonry? A peculiar system. Do I think they need to put the work in? No. No.
In the second degree, we're encouraged to study the liberal arts and sciences, and after all that, I've forgotten the second half. Sorry.
These columns are either up or down, depending on whether the lodge is open or closed.
At Freemasons Hall in central London, a second degree ceremony is about to begin, and the candidate is doing some much needed last minute revision.
So I've pretty much nailed in my heart
the first question. The second one, in a convenient room adjoining to the lodge. The night gets stuck.
The ceremony will be conducted by Worshipful Master and Masonic perfectionist Gary Southam.
This is a square, and this is placed here because when he takes his obligation in the second degree, his left arm is supported in the angle of a square. And this whole ceremony is about squaring life and actions. So it's everything that he does in terms of his posture is done in the angle of a square. You have to excuse me, I just need to go and get ready.
For the last time, the candidate wears the plain white apron of the entered apprentice. As a man advances in Freemasonry, his apron becomes increasingly elaborate to show his progress and rank.
You need to go and sit down, mate.
What?
You need to go and sit down.
Sit down where?
Inside.
Oh, right. Okay.
Anywhere. But
I don't need my gloves, though, do I?
You need gloves? Oh, yeah, yeah.
I need gloves?
Yeah, you need, that's it.
I was told I didn't.
Yeah, you do.
Right.
You need everything. And the answers to the questions, you particularly need those. It'll be fine. Possibly go wrong.
As always, the ceremony is conducted in private, but today, the Lodge of Friendship has agreed to show us one crucial part: the questioning of the candidate.
Where were you first prepared to be made a Mason?
In the heart.
Where next?
In a convenient room adjacent to the lodge.
Adjoining. It's not adjacent, it's adjoining. Where were you made a Mason?
In the body of the lodge. Just perfect and regular.
What is Freemasonry?
Peculiar systems of moral. Try again. A peculiar system of moral. No.
I know the type of person he is. I know how confident he is normally. And it just went to pieces. So, what is Freemasonry?
A peculiar system of morality veiled in allegory and illustrated by signs.
Disappointed, of course, you know, obviously, but Freemasonry isn't about having expectations of people, really. You know, all I ask that he could do his absolute best. But one thing that should happen is if you are going to say you're going to do something in a Masonic temple, that you put the work in to do it. But it's another part of my Masonic education.
The second degree instructs a Mason how to live his life. But to put its teachings into practice, he'll require discipline, hard work, and a genuine desire to improve himself.
The wrong reasons for joining Freemasonry are the same today as they've always been. If you're thinking about in monetary terms or career terms or financial terms, but if you're hoping to gain something from it personally, then you're going to the right place.
Masonry is an experience, it is a journey, and it sounds very much like a sect. I'm kind of afraid to even say that, but Masonry is about discovering life as it is and making it ever so slightly better.
It's enabled me to sort of take things to another level with things like charity and giving to other people. And the more you give, the more you get.
At Cheltenham Town Hall, the day of the charity boxing event has arrived. And though event organiser Alistair may not give his all to Masonic ritual, tonight will be the culmination of months of preparation.
Stressful, so much to do. Just trying to get my head around what needs to be done, what hasn't been done. Don't even worry about doing them as well as you're doing them. Just get the wrinkles out of them because you've got these red things going on them.
I hadn't eaten all day. I've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning, literally setting everything up. But charity-wise, you want it to be a success because everyone's giving, and everyone's giving to a charity, and it's not necessarily a charity for them.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Fighting to raise money for Alistair's chosen charity is his friend and fellow Freemason, Lee the Grenade Green.
You've spent the last 12 weeks suffering, going to training, dieting. Nobody likes to eat broccoli and tuna all day. You don't know what's going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lee the Grenade Green!
In the audience, a table full of Freemasons from Lee's lodge, including his dad, have come to cheer on their brother.
Grenade Green.
Wait, yes, Lee, good. Yes, Lee, come on, Lee! Finish him!
It is a brutal thing, but it's not just to have a fight on a Saturday night. There is a meaning and a reason behind why you've put yourself through those 12 weeks, and Masonry is a part of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, give both fighters a big round of applause, please. By unanimous decision, it is a draw. Please show your appreciation for Lee the Grenade Green.
It was a draw. Wasn't happy with the draw. I thought I won, I'll be honest. But the main reason I did it was to help out Masonry, help out charity, you know, with Alistair, and that's what matters to me personally.
But the night is far from over. At the last minute, one of the fighters has dropped out, and his opponent, who's raising money for his chosen charity, still wants to compete. For Alistair, the real hard work is about to begin.
On the fighting, last fight, because somebody dropped out, last fight maybe, yeah. Try that. Has anyone got spare gumshoes?
I see Alistair going off to the back, and I think, where's he going? So I follow him out, and I'm like, what's going on now? I've got to step in. I'm going to fight him. Hey! Alistair was due to have shoulder surgery, and he hadn't trained at all. That takes some melons to do that. It really does. I'd say a guy who steps in and gives it everything he's got, he is a good Freemason, because it shows somebody who's not selfish.
I like to think that Freemasonry's sort of given me like a second string of morality. It's just like another stepping stone in your personal development. Get yourself right, then help others. That's the mentality of it.
Go walk, one second. Get your breath back first. Choke.
And there's a time in the fight where I was like, don't even want to be here. And I saw his eyes, and he was like, not really too sure if I want to be here either.
It was just like a fight you'd see uptown by two drunk guys brawling. It was like watching Rocky, you know what I mean? You know, he gave it everything. He won as well. And that was a really good moment. It is inspiring, and it does mean a lot to me personally to see him like that.
The night from start to finish was mentally, physically exhausting. It was hard. It was part of the bigger picture. Altogether, the pot of money, a grand total pot, was over £8,000 into various different charities. Now, ultimately, is a massive success.
I'm tired. I want to go to bed.
So mote it be, so mote it be. Shout out to all my brothers through Freemasonry. Let's meet on the level. I earned 3 degrees, had to kill me cause they couldn't get